Good morning and welcome to this week's Grow, where we gather to recharge, organize, and work here as members of MWEG. We're so glad that you're joining us today, and a happy Halloween. You might have seen our title for today's Grow was Chasing Away the Election Scaries. And so we have some MWEG members who have done some things, maybe a little bit outside of their comfort zone, that they were a little maybe intimidated or feeling trepidation to do because it was just something they haven't experienced before, or reaching out to groups or people that they haven't spoken to before, and their experience of how it has helped them to prepare for this year's election. We have 5 more days, so we just wanted to give you guys some courage if you're still in that at that point where you're speaking up and speaking out to people to get them out to vote, or about being a principled citizen feels a little bit scary to you. So we have Paulette Henriod, who is from Nevada. So she's going to tell us what she did and share how it helped her prepare.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm here in Nevada, which, as you all know by now, is a swing state. And it's been a little bit scary to get involved in some of the election processes, but it's also been extremely rewarding too, and brings me a lot of peace of mind as well to know that I am doing everything that I can do. So I'd like to share about meeting with candidates, because that was extremely spooky for me. Originally, I was a little bit nervous about that, but I took the preparation training that MWEG did with Christy Carter Bake, that taught us how to have these candidate education meetings, the purpose of them, the goals and objectives. And after I took that training, we sent out emails to a lot of candidates, and we targeted races, but we made sure that we invited everyone who was running in that race. And we let them know that in the invitation that this was a nonpartisan meeting, that we just wanted to get to know them, that we would not be making any endorsements. And we were able to meet with quite a few candidates, and it was a really it was an encouraging experience for me. It ended up not being as scary as I thought it would be. The candidates are humans just like us, and I think it was good to let them know that there are people listening to their message and taking it seriously, and that we're ready, regardless of what the outcome is, to work with them going forward in a nonpartisan and a peaceful manner.
Thank you. That's so great. And it's great to hear from them kind of personally, to invite them to this. And did you guys did that as a group of MWEG
Yes.
members?
So our chapter, so our chapter did it, and we invited those who had, we invited several chapter members to participate in the trainings, and the ones that did were able to join with us in the meetings, along with Christy Carter Bake from National, who was there taking notes and helping us with those meetings as well. So I felt like it was very effective. It gave me a lot of just peace of mind that this democratic process is working the way it's supposed to be working, that it's all of us together. It's not just the candidates, but the election involves us all on many different levels.
Oh, that's perfect. Thank you so much. We have Cindy from Idaho, who is going to tell us about something that she did that felt a little bit scary, or that she's maybe preparing for, that she is feeling a little bit anxious about. Tell us what you're doing to prepare for this election.
Okay, thanks. Hi, everybody. So I like to be active before an election because it helps me dispel any fears or negative thoughts that I have. So I've always been pretty active in things like door knocking or phone calling, and I like doing it. And I think the reason I like it is because you're talking to strangers. You're, you're just calling people on the phone and saying, "Hey, I want to talk about this this initiative we have on the ballot, or this candidate, or whatever," or you're going door to door, and it's always some other neighborhood besides your own. But this Saturday night, I am hosting a voter prep party. I feel like I'm a little late to the game, but I didn't initially want to do it. But after reading everyone's stories, I thought I have to do this. But here's why I'm nervous about it. I have invited many, many people from my ward. I've invited my neighbors. I have people on all sides of a political spectrum coming. And I just want to ensure that I manage this appropriately and that it is a hopeful, positive event that everyone leaves feeling like they've learned something. So we're going to look at the ballot, even if they've already voted. I feel like we can talk about resources that are available, where you find information, how to find out if your ballot was received by the clerk's office, um, what to look for. And I'm using all the MWEG swag that we were given for the party prep. And so this, even though I've been involved in elections for many years, this is getting outside my comfort zone. So I will be excited to tell you how it goes when this is complete Saturday night.
Oh, I love that. And door knocking is something I've never done because like you said about voter prep parties, that's something where I'm like, oh, I don't want it to be slammed in my face or to have them ask me questions that I just can't answer or have a debate. So bless you for going and doing that. But I think that you will have a lot of success because it sounds like you have good neighbors that want to come and it sounds like they want to learn. So yay, I can't wait for you to come back and tell us how it went. All right. Next we have Michael Ann, and she is joining us from North Carolina. So we have a couple battleground states where, and I only say that because we are hearing a lot about Nevada, Arizona, North Carolina in the news. And so why don't you tell us what you're doing to prepare for this election and what's kind of, helping you and what's maybe a little scary?
Yeah, well, it is a little scary, I feel like, to just live in a swing state in a big election like this. There is nothing like the constant inundation with text messages, and every day my mailbox is full of flyers. I just keep thinking, I've gotten like 20 from this candidate. Like it's really intense. So that part does feel a little bit spooky. And I'm glad I got to go after Cindy because my scary thing that I did this year was to host a voter prep party. And I had seen the idea in years past from IMWEG and thought, oh, that sounds like a nice idea, but I had never really taken action. But as this summer rolled on, I kept thinking, I think I would love to do that. I know I would love to go to one. That's really what I wanted to do. I wanted somebody else to host one and invite me. But I did not think the chances of that were very good. And so I mid-October looked at my calendar and realized I had like one open night for the rest of the month of October. And early voting in our area is a big deal. I knew most of my friends and neighbors were going to vote early to avoid long lines on election day. And so um, I had 1 week. It really was like a one day, it was a Thursday morning, and I said, okay, I'm just going to do this. I pulled up the website. There was so many great resources. It felt like, okay, I can do this. I sent an email out to, I love to read. So I'm in a few different book groups, like 2 in-person book groups and one that's like a conversation group. And I thought these women I know like to talk about ideas and I know them to be thoughtful. And I don't know what everybody's political persuasions are, but I felt confident that it would be a group that would at least consider the idea. And so I sent the invites out and I was so impressed. In the invitation email, I said, like, this is an unusual invitation. Like, hear me out. Let me explain what I'm thinking, and kind of laid out that I envisioned a nonpartisan gathering, and kind of laid out what I thought the expectations might be, like what my expectations were. And hit send, and it was for the next Thursday night. So I did not have a ton of prep time, and I sent the email and then, like got kind of sweaty. Like, oh, I don't know if that was the right thing to do. And I immediately had so many lovely responses from women, several who, a week out couldn't go, but responded and said, this is genius. I love this idea. I had shared the spreadsheet with the North Carolina ballot on it and said, we're going to fill this in. And if you can't come, you can still access the spreadsheet. I had over a dozen women come. And I think the best outcome I had was one friend who sent me an email and said, this is so outside of my comfort zone. I can't even talk to like anybody about politics, but I feel like I really need this. Can I come and just sit in the corner? Like, I don't want to research anything. I feel too scared to do that. And so I said, of course you can come, do whatever you want. But I reassured her that it was not a group of women that was like a bunch of policy wonks. Like, everybody is just busy and doesn't really understand what does the commissioner of insurance do in North Carolina, and why who should we, what kind of experience are we looking for? And she ended up not only coming, but she chose one of our ballot initiatives and researched it and did such a nice job. And just at the end of the night, I could just tell that everybody just left feeling like, okay, like this, it was such an empowering, wonderful experience for everybody. And I had such nice responses from the spreadsheet being shared afterwards. We took some notes while we were discussing, and the women who weren't there, like several responded and said, this saved me. I spent 45 minutes with this spreadsheet and now I can vote and I'm good to go. So Cindy, it was a wonderful experience. I'm excited for you this Saturday night, and it will be a tradition for me going forward. Like, it was so fun that I just, and I had such a nice response that we all just said, let's just make this a thing. So what's me?
It's your new annual book group, right? Kind
Right.
of that same kind of feeling. I love that. And I love that some of the people coming into it felt a little bit unsure and unsteady of where they, of what they knew. And that's the beauty of these voter prep parties, is that you do not have to know everything about everyone and all the different initiatives. And so you share this information and you do it in such, I've hosted one before, and you just do it in such a way that it's like, here's the information, do with it what you will. Like, I'm giving you this gift. So I love all that. And thank you so much for sharing your experience. And I hope that it encourages other people. And I love that the women in your area, can pass it on, right? They can share the spreadsheet that you guys did, and it just kind of goes from there. I'm going to share. So I live in Arizona, another one of those battleground states. And although it doesn't have anything much to do with my state particular, one of the scary things that I did is in the last election, the last presidential election, our family had, like many of you, a lot of division over candidates and feelings and different things going on in the world. And so as this one rolled around, I try not to engage in any sort of negativity or this side or that side. And I try not to post who I'm voting for, and just keep that to myself. But I did reach out to a family member who posted a meme, and it was just a negative meme, and it definitely got comments and clicks. But what I was seeing is that comments in there were from siblings, my siblings, against each other in defense of the person posting. And so I privately messaged my mother, and I just said, I gave her President Nelson's video that just said, peacemaking is a choice and anger is a choice. And so some of you may have seen that. But what I just asked her is, I just said, I am asking you not to post these memes because it's creating a division within our family, which I know will make you sad at the end of this election. If siblings are not speaking, or whatever, ugliness that we have all experienced or seen in this election cycle or in the last. So I just said, and one thing that I told her, and I think many of our members might be able to share with other people the same way, is that we are part of an organization, MWEG, that is promoting peacemaking and principled citizenship and principled voter that we believe in. And so I just said, I'm just asking you to not post or repost memes. That's all I asked. And I just left it at that. There was no response. There was nothing. And I didn't expect anything, but I thought, this is me doing something really scary that might make somebody that I really love kind of upset, but I'm going to go at it with a peacemaking, hopeful, way of doing it. I didn't blast him on social media. I did it privately. So I'm just saying, if you're seeing something like that and it feels a little scary to speak up, definitely lead with peacemaking and just try it and go in with love. So I'm going to give everybody that challenge in the next 5 days to just say, hey, this is something that I really believe in, peacemaking, and this doesn't feel peacemaking. So with that, I'm going to end with that scary thing for me, and I shouldn't be, but it was. I'm going to invite Jennifer Walker Thomas, our co-executive director of MWEG, to close us out with some hope and some last minute election preparedness of what we can do to continue to be active. You're muted.
Thank you. I really love that story. I think that I think it's very relatable. I think there isn't one of us that hasn't had our politics move into kind of disrupting our family relationships and our friend relationships. And I really love the way everything that all of you have shared about the work that you're doing to not only support our systems and help people vote, but doing it in a way that doesn't cause any harm at all to relationships and leaves relationships stronger than they had been before. I think one of the biggest threats to our democracy has been the way that there has been sort of an implicit framing set up that the only way to engage in politics is to basically be at war with your fellow citizens. And I love the way that women just all throughout MWEG are rejecting that premise completely and instead are saying, hey, no, politics are important and it affects how we live. It affects the safety and well-being of our families. It has huge ripple-on effects. But I am going to reject the notion that I have to do that in a way that is destructive of my relationships, but instead productive of peace. So thank you, everybody, for sharing what you shared. It's been really inspiring. I just wanted to pivot a tiny bit from Rachel and all of these fantastic women have talked about individual things that they've done that have been scary. I think I want to also acknowledge on Halloween that we have a little bit of fear and anxiety about the election generally and the results and some of the follow-on effects that might happen given what we saw play out 4 years ago. And so while I don't want to dwell on this a lot today, what I do want to say to all of you is that as an organization leading up to the election, while there was still an opportunity for all of us to exercise our agency and control around how this election went, we have focused so much as an organization on hope, on trust, on community, on building the things that would help each of us be in the best possible position to get an outcome that we would all be happy with, and the outcome not just being the outcome of the election, but the outcome being strong, healthy relationships on the other side. As we get closer to the election and then afterwards, MWEG is going to pivot, and you'll all see that. We have been spending the last months in deep preparation to help us as an organization understand some of the threats that we as a people were facing in terms of the security of our elections and just in terms of messaging that was false about how free and fair our elections are. So we will be sharing really positive, hopeful, but most importantly, truthful information in the coming days. And so we just want to assure you that if there are concerns around the election, if there are questions about ballots, if there are questions about how processes are unfolding, MWEG is going to be a great go-to site for you. We have been partnering with literally hundreds of organizations that are nonpartisan and interested in protecting our democracy across the nation. And we are working in lockstep and in concert to help make sure that things go well and that truth is communicated to citizens about our election processes. So please look for that. And we hope to be a really good source, just both for you personally, if you have questions, and also that you can share with friends and family members. But finally, I just want to close out with that message of hope. We do sincerely go into this election knowing that as an organization and the women of this organization have done everything they could to help things go well. And we believe sincerely that an enormous amount of good has been put into our processes across the nation by the women of this organization. And so we just want to thank you. These stories that you've heard today are just a handful of examples. Hundreds of people have downloaded our voter preparation party materials. People all across the nation are throwing those parties. They're sharing principal voter content. We've had extraordinary reach with that content this year. It's been seen by hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people across the nation. And we are so grateful for all of you, both in supporting our country or our organization and in helping us get those messages of hope and peace out into the world. So go forth with confidence. Regardless of how things work out on Tuesday, we really are so grateful that we all belong to this amazing organization of women that will continue to influence both our families and our states and our nation for good. So thanks for being part of this team, and we look forward with hope.
Yes, thank you, Jen and Cindy and Paulette and Michael Ann. Thank you all for being here today with us, and we will see you next Thursday. Jen and will be back with us, and Emma Petty Adams with a post-election executive director update. So if you are wondering what some of those next steps are and what MWEG's been doing and just some different updates, then join us next Thursday on the Grow. And until then, stay peaceful and have hope. That's all I have for you. And that's the best we can do, right? So thanks for joining us. See you next time.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you all.
Everyone.